You've had to come out multiple times, and we talked about this in your life. Not only coming out as gay at that time for the Puerto Rican, and then all of that, the alma starts, the activism starts. And most people don't know that at 15, you were independent. You were not living at home. You were working two jobs. You finished high school and then paid your way through college at DePaul because you made too much according to your FAFSA because you had two jobs because you were living on your own. Why is Julio at 15 on his own?
Okay, so this one I may not be as funny. So I have to take a moment. So this is coming out, by the way. So, and this is important for those of you who have family members that are struggling with mental illness. So my mother, at about the time I was 7 or 8, started to show early signs of schizophrenia. And my mother's episodes were very violent. And you should just know my mom was maybe 4, 8. But when she had an episode, you want to talk about a diva? That woman had power that you cannot see. But the greatest power she had was the power to break through that illness and still love her family. But without going into a lot of detail, at about 15 and a half, I came home to an empty house and realized that that night was the last time I would probably see my family for a while. And again, the details aren't important because many of us struggle through many issues and we face many struggles throughout our lives. But I think it's important because one of the things I've learned about when people are in pain, then if you can provide love, they can overcome that pain to show you love. But it's a huge step to do that. And I will tell you, so I did have two jobs. I worked at and this is always but funny, so I worked at a Baskin & Robbins and a Kentucky Fried Chicken. No, not Kentucky, Browns, sorry. To my Browns colleagues. And they were right by my high school. And because my mom's episode were so violent, I never lived close to my high school because my mom, at one point in my life, would come to my school and there would just be huge scenes. And police would be called. And I just said, quite frankly, at the age of 13, I moved my family as far away from the high school that I went to so that I would never experience that again. And I still carry a lot of shame, because I realized at that point I made a decision that I had to make my life normal, that I couldn't live in fear every day in the classroom that she would come. And so that gave me an enormous amount of strength. And when I did realize that I was going to be on the streets, and it's funny, and if anyone has ever experienced homeless, this city takes on a very different character when you don't have a place to go home. And I remember, because I used to take the Broadway bus and the Lawrence bus to go home. And that night, those streets were so scary to me. You know, the bus I took probably every single day, all of a sudden when I got on that Broadway bus to go back to work, because the fortunate thing for me is I had a key to the Baskin & Robbins store. And so the only place I could think of to call home that night was that store. But I remember, because I got off the Broadway bus and then I had remembered, well, maybe I should go someplace that's more populated. And I wound up on Broadway in Belmont. And so for some of you, because you're too young, the corner of Broadway and Belmont in the 70s was not a safe place. And I was lucky because I had a lot of angels that evening. And that was actually the first time I had met people who I would today call transgender. And I remember one in particular, one young woman said to me, you know, you can't stay out here. She goes, I'm watching you, and they're watching too. So every time they know that you're walking back and forth, they know you got no place to go. And this is a place that will make a decision for you. And luckily, we went to, I actually think it was the Melrose, that's how scary it is. But I remember sitting there having coffee. She never once asked me how I got to where I was. But I do remember her saying to me, you need to find some place soon, because the life that will come to you this evening will be one that will take away choices. And so that night, I went back to the Baskin & Robbins and I slept in the back. And I spent about 2 months kind of living there before I actually, at the age of about 16, got my own apartment and began my life as an independent gay person. But I will tell you, the thing that I've learned the most about that experience is that the universe provides you with angels. You just have to open your eyes and see them.
Right now, just kind of to wrap this up a little bit, Julio, thank you for sharing that.
Oh, sure.
I did want to give you an opportunity, though, to talk about the Immigrant Coalition that Alma has been really actively working on, and that really you have been dedicated to for the last 2 years. So I just want you to give an opportunity to talk about that, and thank you so much.
Thank you for the plug. So one of the things is, and Manny alluded to it earlier, is that ALMA is the organization that I was one of the co-founders of, is in itself coming out in a new process, in that we are changing our mission statement to say that we are now an organization or an association that motivates action for Latinos and Latinas. We are looking to expand our mission to include women and trans and questioning and everybody who wants to help us in this work. And one of the key areas of work that we're doing is around the intersect between LGBTQ issues and immigration. And we started, yes. And I'd like to say that we're one of the leading organizations, along with 17 others, that really have taken on this work to really teach all of our communities that there isn't the LGBTQ immigrant and then the immigrant. It is about that we are one community, and that the issues look different for us, but we need to fight with each other for change. And we have been very successful. We just had a recent meeting with Senator Dick Durbin's chief of staff. That went very, very well. We're getting ready to have several other meetings. But the work that we're doing that's probably the most important is that we're going out into our communities and helping people to understand all the confusion about immigration, about DOMA, about why is it important to have marriage equality in Illinois? Because you know how many friends who said to me, we got DOMA now, girl. I'm not going no place. I'm going to get married in Illinois. And I said, girl, you ain't get married in Illinois. And this is what we got to do. We have to continue to help our community understand the issues are more complex than you think, and it's not an easy fix, and we all have to work together to make change. Thank you all so much for your time.
Julio Rodriguez, everyone. Thank you, Julio. Thank you, Julio. Thank you.